Wisdom is fear? Because that's what I'm reading. Wisdom is fear. And so let's just think on this. Does it mean wisdom is like you need to be afraid of the Lord like a shark attack? Fear? I don't think so, but maybe. Or like ghosts? Like, I don't know. I've yet to grow up enough to not be afraid of the dark. Anyone else? I'm so funny. I get so Pentecostal when it's late night and it's in the dark. I'm like, like I will just start just naming and proclaiming things just to get, and then you like turn on the lights and you run upstairs and like you can outrun the ghoul. We all know that. If you get in bed, it's the safe zone. They can't touch you. So thank you for the laugh. Oh man, I would have seen myself out. Just like dead quiet. Like, okay, I'm sorry. All right, so what does that mean? So to be afraid of the Lord, is it like a shark attack or is it like a ghost? Again, I don't think so. But at the same time, Proverbs will use hyperbolic, exaggerated language. We'll read that. But I don't think that's what's happening here. I don't think he's overstating it. So what does it mean to fear the Lord? Let me share with you a story that I think lands right where God wants us to be. Jim Bakker, Bakker Ministries, The Eyes of Tammy Faye. You've seen that? Yeah. Also, I would say The Righteous Gemstones is very much almost a mockumentary of what they did. Huge evangelical televangelist ministry. He stole so much money, and he cheated on his wife. He was an adulterer. He ended up going to prison, Jim Bakker. And so where I want to start the story is that Pastor John Bevere, Lisa John Bevere, pastors, when he wrote his first book in 1994, Jim Bakker, in prison, said, hey, I'm wondering if this pastor will come. I just want to tell him this is a really good book. So Pastor John Bevere visited Pastor Jim Bakker in prison. And they talked for a while. And Jim Bakker in prison said, like, this is a phenomenal book that you've written. And eventually the conversation got to a point where John Bevere said, so tell me, like, what has happened in your life? You're in prison now. You and I were both pastors. And Jim Bakker talked about how being in prison was not an act of judgment as much as he felt it was an act of mercy. He said, if God didn't stop me, I would have kept going. But that wasn't a good enough answer for John. He said, okay, but for 7 years, you stole from people. For 7 years, you embezzled so much money. So then the question that John asked Jim was, when did you stop loving the Lord? And he said that his whole countenance completely changed, Jim. And with tears in his eyes, he said, I never stopped loving the Lord. I stopped fearing him. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom.